What's up, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tesla, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to break down some big news that just came out as we have President Trump making some big announcements, and also why tomorrow is going to be a very, very important day as we have FOMC and Jerome Powell's speech. Just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I'm saying as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link. Moomoo is an amazing global brokerage account that consists of many exclusive offers. If you sign up and deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. Deposits $2,000 and you're guaranteed 25 in total. And deposit $5,000 and you're guaranteed 60 free stocks. The offer ends on June 3rd. You'll also qualify for an 8.1% APY in uninvested cash. And also, if you guys keep at least $100 in the account, you'll qualify for free level 2 data, which is very useful for understanding the market insights, what's happening with the options chains, and a bunch of things for your trading and investing journeys. So check out my link down below. Anyways, let's talk about what's happening with the stock market. I just wanted to say that we had another very, very interesting day because the market did see a small attempt to push to fill this gap towards 563. Then it came back down and we saw a lot of sideways price action as the market's still waiting FOMC. But the next couple of days are going to be very important because of two main factors. Number one, FOMC, and number two is going to be President Trump, as he says he's going to be making a very, very huge announcement. I'm going to break down exactly what on earth is going on. But keep in mind, right now, SPY is looking a little bit indecisive. It's just kind of trading sideways. Last couple of days, it's been stuck between this 555 support and resistance at 567, going back and forth. The same thing is going on with the QQQ as we're still just range bound. So we will see if we continue to break out or if we end up getting a big rejection. That's going to depend on Jerome Powell. So let's talk about the news first, what President Trump just said, and then I'll break down the charts. As a reminder, the market's very flat. We did see some tickers that were quite flat, looking like Aapl and Nvda. Some of them sold off a bit, such as Amazon and also looking at Meta and a few more of these big tech stocks. But overall, the market held up for the most part. Is very, very flat. Now, what's happening tomorrow? As a reminder, tomorrow is going to be Wednesday, May 7th, 2025. That's very important because at 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have the interest rate decision coming out. Right now, there's actually a 97.8% chance the Fed's going to keep rates the same based off what the bonds market is pricing in. So we know for sure the Fed will most definitely keep rates the same. But the question is, what on earth are they going to tell us about their balance sheets? What are they going to be doing when it comes to quantitative easing? Will they be trying to ease up a little bit more when it comes to external things, or will they end up doing something different? We'll have to wait and see about that. So I do expect a lot of volatility at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as we have the press conference. Jerome Powell is either going to cause the market to rocket to the upside, or he's going to be causing a lot of volatility to the downside. So we'll see what the big guy ends up saying right over here. He's also going to be making lots of comments about President Trump and his policies. Obviously, President Trump was not happy with the way Jerome Powell was doing things. He wants to see more cuts. Jerome Powell is not going to likely announce a cuts tomorrow. I don't think that's very likely. There's only a 97% chance that they're going to keep rates the same. So, they're most likely going to keep rates the same. Obviously, President Trump will not be happy about that. But President Trump said that despite all of this, he still said that he wants to keep Jerome Powell in place. He does not want to basically get rid of him. So that's what's happening, at least thus far. But whatever Jerome Powell says about inflation, what's happening with the Fed's balance sheets, what they're proposing, at least in the future, and if he does talk about potential future cuts, that's going to cause a lot of volatility. I think this is going to cause the market to move by a very, very large extent. So make sure you're ready for Jerome Powell for tomorrow. That's going to be the biggest catalyst at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for FOMC. Now, on top of this, there's going to be even more volatility thanks to President Trump because he said something super, super important. As a reminder, okay, President Trump has been teasing a very, very big announcement ahead of his trip to the Middle East. And let's go over the details. So, President Trump said that ahead of his upcoming trip to the Middle East, he's going to be making a very, very big announcement. By the Middle East, we're talking about Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and also Qatar, which is where he wants to visit. And President Trump said this quote right here: "We're going to have a very, very big announcement to make, like as big as it gets." That's what he said as he met up with Canada's new Prime Minister, Mark Carney. He also said that he does not want to tell you what it is, but it's very, very positive. And that's his exact quote right here. It is really, really positive, and that announcement will be made either Thursday or Friday or Monday before we leave. That's what President Trump added. So keep in mind, on Wednesday, tomorrow, we have FOMC, and then on Thursday, or Friday or Monday, President Trump is going to be making this massive announcement. President Trump said it's going to be one of the most important announcements that have been made in many years about a certain subject. Very important subject. You'll all be there. So that's what President Trump is saying. Once again, Carney said that he's on the edge of his seats and he's not going to say anything else about it. So this is some huge news so far. So make sure you guys are ready for this big announcement. We know President Trump could shake the entire stock market. What he says causes lots of volatility. So that's going to be very important. When it comes to other pieces of news, keep in mind that President Trump is also going to be meeting up with many Chinese officials to be discussing trade and things like that in the future. So that's going to be very, very big news as well as they're continuing to negotiate. And what's happening right now, let's actually break down some more quotes from President Trump. So I have President Trump's transcript. I want to read some important things that he said. President Trump said that he's looking forward to meeting Mark Carney and that they have so much work to do. He said that we don't need their cars, but we need their energy, and we don't need their lumber. We don't need anything that they have except for anything else. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. He said we don't need their cars. We don't need their energy. He didn't say we need anything. He said we don't need them. He also said that we need nothing except friendship, which hopefully we will always maintain. He also said that we don't need anything other than Canada's friendship. And he said that he's looking forward to meeting him. They're going to be renegotiating the USMCA. They're going to be negotiating trade policies with Canada and Mexico, and that things are going very well. President Trump said that he thinks that Carney is very excellent in debates. He has some tough points and he really likes him. He says that they have a lot in common and that they're going to be continuing to do what's important. President Trump mentioned once again that there's going to be a very, very positive announcement on Thursday, Friday, or Monday before we leave to their trip to the Middle East. And then he also said that they're going to once again make some big transformations. He said that, again, the big announcements coming before the Monday departure, and we would love to have our first trade deal to be with Canada. So we're possibly going to be renegotiating the USMCA. It's actually very effective and people are going to follow the rules. President Trump also said that they're going to be doing what's important to renegotiate, and that I don't know if it's necessary to renegotiate the USMCA completely, but we will keep you guys updated. So that's what President Trump said. When talking about other things, he said that he's not going to be discussing if Canada will be the 51st state, and then he went on about the same things. Moving forward, President Trump started talking about China. He said that they want to meet. There's going to be a big meeting with the US and China. And by not trading with China, we're losing nothing. That's what President Trump said. He also mentioned that the Chinese economy is suffering from the lack of U.S. trade and that they want to do business with us. Chinese ships are turning back to the Pacific Ocean, and there's going to be a lot of news coming. He also said that the announcement over the next few days does not necessarily have to be about trade. It may not be about trade, but we do have to sign some deals. That's what President Trump said. He's saying there's deals that are going to be coming, and then he went on about that over and over again. He also said that India have agreed to drop tariffs to nothing and that they're making lots of progress. There's going to be more deals, and he's going to be very flexible. And besides that, I'm not seeing anything else that's too significant. He said the USMCA is fine. It's there. It's good. And we'll see if they make a new deal about that. So that's pretty much what we heard from President Trump, kind of repeating the same things. So that's pretty much it. Oh, he also said that he's planning on helping Russia and Ukraine. He says there's going to be a peace deal eventually coming. So that's what he's been saying. So that's, some very, very big news from President Trump. As a reminder, we're seeing lots of negotiations, and then he has that massive announcement on Thursday, Friday, or Monday. Keep in mind, he could shake the whole market, so make sure you're ready for this just to be safe. He claims the announcement's going to be very positive, though. On top of this, President Trump's Treasury Secretary has come out and they're saying that they're going to see a lot of negotiations with China. He went on about that. And one more thing about world news, there's a lot of tensions right now between India and Pakistan. This is important because, this could be affecting not only each of the countries, but possibly other factors like this. It's not really affecting the stock market right now for the US, but we'll see if this escalates into anything else. But the tensions continue as time goes on, so please keep that in mind. With that being said, two more things. The market is still greedy, but we'll see how greedy we remain after Jerome Powell gives his speech. Momentum's at extreme fear, and also the put to call option ratio is at extreme fear. Volatility is still kind of flat. The VIX is starting to increase in value, which is not the best of signs, but we'll see if we get a rejection or not. Tomorrow we have Uber and Disney announcing their earnings in the morning, and then ARM after market close. And also for Tuesday, we have Supermicro. So keep in mind that they expect the fiscal 2025 revenue to be between 21.8 billion and 22.6 billion. That's a cut from before. That's why the share price is down, because they cut their guidance on revenue. It's not the best of news. And then for AMD, they're actually doing really well because their earnings were quite good. They were seeing a lot of growth when it comes to their data segments, and they want that to continue. And then what's really good is the fact that they say they want to remain resilient through the deepening tensions between the US and China. They want to remain resilient, and they're going to find ways to withstand export controls. So that's some good news. That's why AMD is holding up, but then we saw Supermicro sell off. So with that being said, what do I think is going to happen to the stock market? Let me give you guys my prediction. My prediction yesterday was that we'd see a small dip, and then we'd see a consolidation. That's close to what happened. We did dip a bit, and we did consolidate for the most part. So, we're 2 for 2 on the predictions for the last 2 days. But from this point, what do I think is going to happen? Honestly, guys, I wouldn't be surprised if we see the same thing. I don't really expect much. We could see SPY try to go a little bit higher to like 565, come back down to 560, kind of consolidate. I do think we consolidate in the morning. And then once we get the rate decision, we'll see if we get a pop up or pop down, depending on what's announced. They're going to announce that rates will be the same. So maybe this causes the market to pop. And then once Jerome Powell opens his mouth, Jerome Powell will either launch us back up. If SPY could clear this 567 area, okay, if we clear this resistance that's right over here, we're looking for an attempt to push for 575. If we're bearish, however, if we end up losing 555, SPY could actually dump all the way down to about 545 to 548. We could be looking for a retest of these lows right here if Jerome Powell causes the rug pull. So tomorrow is quite simple. We see a lot of consolidation in the morning. There's going to be a pop once the decision comes out, maybe to the upside. So we might pop for like 567 or above, come back down and consolidate even more. And then when Jerome Powell opens his mouth, he's going to either launch this back up towards 575 or cause us to dump all the way down to 555 or below, most likely. That's what I think is going to happen tomorrow. So it depends on what Jerome Powell says. For the QQQ, it's the same thing. We're actually holding up very, very nicely. We want to see if we could break 490 to remain bullish, so keep that in mind. For now, the main factor is going to be Jerome Powell. We are looking decent because as we hit 478, we're bouncing, and bouncing. But as we hit 490, we tend to reject. So keep that in mind. Now, when you zoom out of the charts, at least technically speaking, we do favor this push for like 494 plus. The chart does look a little bit more bullish for like an inverse head and shoulders like pattern. So we are favoring upside a little bit more on the QQQ. If you look at this, there's a very, very nice uptrend so far. We're making higher highs and higher lows. So the chart does look a little bit more bullish for FOMC. But like I said before, technicals are just half of the picture. What also matters is what Jerome Powell says. So tomorrow, we could see an attempt to get closer to the higher 480s. We'll likely come back down and consolidate like this. Then Jerome Powell, well, not Jerome Powell, but the decision that comes out is going to either launch us up like this or back down. Hopefully it's to the upside and we come down like this. And then Jerome Powell is going to either launch us above 490 to start pushing for 494 plus, or we end up dumping below 478. If we fail at 478, I do expect us to dip to the lower 470s. It all depends on what ends up happening. But I'm favoring upside a little bit more as time goes on, so please keep that in mind. For the IWM Russell 2000, we're also trading sideways. We're seeing lots of consolidation right here. If we break past 198.9, we're looking for an attempt to push to 200. If that breaks, if 200 breaks on the Russell, we could easily push to these highs right over here. And if we end up losing 194, we're looking for a dump back down towards 190. So in my opinion, what I predict is going to happen is that we see consolidation in the morning. That's typically what happens with these FOMC days. Might see a small push for like 200 and consolidation like this. And then when the decision comes out, this might pop a little bit. We might see a little pop right here to like the 200s before it comes back down. And then Jerome Powell is either going to launch us really high into the 205 plus area like this. We either see a big push thanks to Jerome Powell, or we get a big rug pull and we lose 194 and start dumping after he gives his speech. I'm not a fortune teller. I don't know what Jerome Powell is going to say. So it could go either way, but that's what we're looking for heading into tomorrow. ES is looking a little bit more bullish. We're making higher highs and higher lows. Yes, we're looking for basically 5750 is a potential target for bullish and eventually 5800. But if we're bearish, you want to see us reject and lose 5589. So we'll see how it ends up going. So for ES, I think that there is a chance that we're going to push for essentially just under 5700. Come back down like this, consolidate for some time. And then when the decision comes out, we should be looking for a pop again. and consolidation like this. That's what I think is going to happen. And then when Jerome Powell gives his speech, we could be looking for an attempt to not only retest this wick up here, these highs, we could be going all the way up closer to 5,800 if he launches us up. But if Jerome Powell does the opposite, if he causes a rug pull, you want to see SPY or ES lose 55, 57 or so. If we end up losing that, that will be a complete rug pull, and we're going to be dumping back down below this low to like the 5450s. So it all depends. Do we end up getting a big rug pull or a big pump? It depends on Jerome Powell. I do think we might go a little higher and consolidate first, but then Jerome Powell is going to either launch us or dump us. So we'll see about that. For NQ, it's the same thing. We are bullish because every time we're hitting the yellow line and the green lines, this is our 15-20 EMA. We're bouncing, doing a good job. Now, if we're bullish, and then keep in mind that there's a full measured move here that would take us all the way up towards 20,500. That would cause the QQQ to run as well. But if we end up losing 19,674, we're looking for a dump. So it's quite simple, right? Tomorrow we might push towards these highs at 20,100, consolidate a bit. We'll see if we get a pop upon the release of our decision from the Fed. And then Jerome Powell, he's going to either launch this to the 20,500 area, or he's going to cause us to dump all the way down to 19,169. So it's either going to be a dump or launch. Look for some consolidation, some upside, then Jerome Powell's going to launch this. So we'll see what the big guy has to say. Bitcoin's looking a bit more bullish. I could see us trying to get closer to these highs at 97,000, but then we're going to likely consolidate. And then we will see, because there's some good news coming out from Binance's co-founder, I believe, about how we could be looking for a $500,000 to $1 million Bitcoin in this market cycle. But if we're bullish after Jerome Powell, we're looking for 100,000. If we're bearish, you want to see us lose support right over here at 94,000, dumped closer to like 90,000 flat. We're looking bullish, so 100,000 is a strong possibility. For Tesla, we're looking like we're in the middle. I'm looking to see if this is a flag or not. I'm not 100% sure about this. I told you guys not to really worry about that. Focus more on the levels. So just to be frank, if we're bullish, let's just say Tesla does push tomorrow to like 285. We consolidate a bit. We pop after the decision comes down. We just consolidate. Jerome Powell is going to either launch us to 292. If we break that, we're looking for a big launch into the 300s. We could be looking for a move like this if we break 292 to push for 300 plus. Or if we're bearish, if Jerome Powell gives us the rug pull, we want to see this lose 272. If we lose that, I think we dump to the low 260s. So it could go either way. As an optimist, I do hope that we try to push for like 300 or at least 292. But we'll see, guys. Could go either way. The setup on Tesla is like in the middle. We are bullish because we have this like quadruple bottom in terms of that. But we need to see Tesla continue to hold at least our 50 EMA. I would love to see us hold support to continue to maintain the strength. Otherwise, it's not looking as good in all honesty. Nvidia is looking bullish. Now, if we end up hypothetically losing 112, we're looking for basically 109 or lower. If we break 115, we're looking for an attempt to push for essentially 118. The setup is looking bullish on Nvidia. If you actually look at the charts, we're doing a very, very good job at holding this support right here. We're forming a wedge, so that does typically lead to bullish outcomes. If we're bearish after Jerome Powell, you want to see us lose 109. If we're bullish, you want to break 115 and start pushing for essentially 118 to 120. I'm favoring upside in my personal opinion. For Aapl, we're weak here, a little bit weak after we got that rejection, but it's trying to make a comeback. I think we could be pushing for essentially 203. 203 could be tested right here, so we'll see if we get a rejection or not. I think we may consolidate like this, and we'll see if we get a big launch thanks to Jerome Powell back up towards this imbalance, or if we get a big rug pull. It all depends, so keep that in mind. For Netflix, we're technically on an uptrend. We have a gap to fill, so I do think this is going to uptrend a little bit. It's going to consolidate and simultaneously try to like push like this. Most likely it's about 1150, but then Jerome Powell is going to launch this towards 1200, or we get the big rug pull. It all depends on him. So look for some upside on Netflix for now. Even MSTR, like I said yesterday, I was expecting a retest of 400. We're actually very close. We could be looking for a retest of 400 consolidation, and we'll see if we launch higher or lower. So we'll give this some time. For Celsius, we're looking bullish. If we end up losing 34.8, we're looking for a dip. And as long as we're above 35, we're looking for a push. I do expect us to consolidate. There is some upside potential on this, so we'll see how this goes. For Supermicro, we're trading sideways after earnings came out. It's not looking as good. I think it still trades sideways between 28 and 32, though. Not really expecting too much from this, but it's a little bit weak nonetheless. Palantir dumped quite a bit. It came very close to our target. Now we want to see if this can get back above like 100 109. If we reclaim that, we're looking for an attempt to push for like 113. Could see a small bounce and we'll see how it goes. Rivian is trading sideways. We want to see if we can get back above like 13.5. If we break that, we're looking for an attempt to rebound. If we lose this support, we're going to be dipping a lot more. I do think that, let me just double check this. We have earnings that came out. We're actually down a little bit. We're very flat right now, so we'll see how it ends up holding up. Look for a test of this 12.9 area again. I think it's just kind of consolidates for now, showing a little bit of weakness. So far, it looks a little bit more bullish to me because we're above our EMAs. As long as we're above them, we're actually favoring 13 plus. So keep that in mind. For AMD, we have a wick here. It's outperforming Supermicro because we have some optimism about their resiliency against what's happening in China and the US. So that's some good news. So this does have some potential to retest 100, but I do expect some consolidation. ARM is looking a bit more bullish. We could be looking for 125 as our target, right back up here, and we'll see if it rejects or not. I think tomorrow we test 125 and consolidate, and then we're either going to see a big launch towards 128 or a big rug pull, so we'll give this some time. For Palantir, we look a bit more bullish. We could be looking for an attempt for basically the 70. If we end up losing 67, we're looking for 65, but I do favor 70 plus. For Coinbase, we're also trading sideways right here. I do expect that to continue. We might be looking for an attempt to retest basically this 200 area, so we'll give this some time just to see how things end up going. So please keep that in mind as time goes on. For others out there, I do think that we might be looking for a retest of essentially 200, and that's going to be very, very important for how things end up going. So look for 200 to 202, and we'll see if we consolidate here. Then we'll see which direction we end up breaking in. For Amazon, we're making higher lows. I want to see if we get back above like 190. I do think we test 190 to consolidate for now, and we'll see if we break out higher or lower. So give it some time. Meta, we have to see how it reacts. I do think it's going to retest 600. If we break this, we could actually push up towards like the 620 area. If we're bearish, you want to see it lose 576 to start dumping. We're in the middle. I do see a test of 600 tomorrow morning. We'll see if Jerome Powell launches this higher or not. Microsoft is still technically bullish, looking for 442 as our target, might be pushing it up to fill the gap. Then we'll see how it goes. So there is still some upside potential. And Google's bullish as we're riding this blue trend line up. We're also above our EMAs. If we lose 162 after Jerome Powell gives his speech, look for a dump. But for now, we're favoring a test of 170. As a reminder, DJT is kind of weak, looking for a test of 23.5 or below. It might see a small dip. The VIX is unpredictable. I mean, it all depends on what Jerome Powell says. Does he launch the VIX up or not? If we're bullish, you want to see this break 26. If we break that, that's going to be a bearish sign for the markets, but bullish for the VIX. And if we reject near here, we want to see this thing essentially lose 24. If 24 fails us, we're looking for a dump. So we'll see which way it goes. The 10-year is very flat, and so is the dollar. But keep in mind, the warning I do have is the fact that the dollar has inverse head and shoulders forming. This doesn't guarantee anything because, the QQQ is still holding up, and so is SPY. So we'll see what happens. So for now, the number one catalyst for the market is the big guy, Jerome Powell. Will he cause the market to pump or dump? We'll just have to wait and see what he has to say tomorrow. That's going to be the next big catalyst. The second one after that's going to be what President Trump says during his announcement on Thursday, Friday, or Monday. So keep that in mind. With that being said, I thank you all so much for listening. Please enjoy the rest of your guys' days. Enjoy your nights out there, and I'll see you guys tomorrow before market open. It's going to be a very crazy day, so get ready. Do what you have to do, guys, and peace out.